Nation, I am longtime Ace Pro Wrestling fan Robert. Respect Matters was a great show from the Jose Marti Freshman Academy in Union City, New Jersey, the birthplace of American Championship Entertainment. The show kicked off with a pretty good opening match. It saw Tommy the Moose defeat Lou Nova, who many might remember was a referee years ago in Ace Pro Wrestling. Second matchup saw Steve Pena defeat Ricky Richards in a decent matchup. I don't know if something went wrong at the end. Up next, Mike Morgan Jr. came out with the New Age Wrecking Crew for, I guess we'll say, is now the monthly State of Ace address. That seems to have been happening at the last few months with Mike Jr. They were eventually interrupted by William Wyeth after Mike Jr. had said that Stockade was given the night off from wrestling Andrew Tiny Johnson. But Tiny had also come out with Wyeth, but Tiny said, I think Wyeth was the one that said that Stockade, you're going to wrestle somebody you know very well, and out comes Eddie Kingston. Kingston comes out, and he takes the mic and says, well, you're not wrestling me. You're wrestling someone else you know very well. And out came the good guy, Azrael, and eventually there was a Pier 6 brawl, which saw Wyeth, Tiny, Kingston, and Azrael clear the ring of the New Age Wrecking Crew. Up next in six-man tag team action, The Movement and Josh Starks defeat the Middle East Connection. Initially, I thought maybe Jamal Jackson didn't make the show because Seth Van B had come out by himself. And while the Movement theme was playing, eventually that 1970s or 80s song Shake Your Groove thing starts playing. Out comes Jamal Jackson and Josh Starks. Up next was William Wyeth defeating Ultimo Maya in what was actually a rematch from Day of Reckoning back in April. Then we saw Eddie Kingston and Andrew Tiny Johnson defeat Vince Steele and Thorson Creed. During this matchup, Astro Morales, who initially was going to team with Kingston for this match, comes out and prevents a chair being used by Vince Steele. He chased Steele to the back. At that point, they went to intermission. And then we saw Bad Boy Danny Pagan take on Jorge Luis Rivera, which ended with Mike Lewis eventually came out just as their match was getting underway. And Pagan hits Rivera with a chair, I guess causing a disqualification. Out comes Steve Pena to seemingly save the day, but instead Pena and Pagan put the boots to Rivera until Lou Nova makes a save. Mike Lewis takes the microphone and says, Mike Lewis Enterprises, they say I have a bad ego, I'm a bad influence, so I figured it's time I surround myself with some bad company. Nice to see at least Mike Lewis Enterprises now has more than 2 members. Next, Defiance. Chris Cade and Raymond Risk defeated Andy Lee Ray and Panda Man to retain the tag team championship. Up next in a 5-way matchup, Showtime Chris Taylor defeated Josh Glide, Jonathan Evans, Black Zemis, and Chris Reyes to win the Fight for Flight championship. Next, we saw Rob Vegas defeat Flawless Blake Morris to, that was a return match from Day of Reckoning as well, and Vegas managed to get the victory. And the main event, Stockade defeated Azrael to retain the heavyweight championship. After the match ended, the Midnight Rider comes out from out of the blue seemingly, but then all of a sudden Mike Morgan Sr. hits the ring, nails Stockade with a chair, takes the microphone, and basically tells off Mike Jr. by saying, when I put you in charge of this company, I didn't give you the whole thing. My other kid said Happy Father's Day, here's your shares back, so I now own 50%. And basically, obviously this really heating up this whole thing, and obviously really the seeds are really being planted for Crossroads 10, which will be in September. I forget what else Mike Sr. had said, but it was definitely a great show. I guess it's off to the personal notes time. Great seeing Millie, Diane, Felix. I noticed former Ace Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champion Nino Capone in attendance. Oh boy. I ate at a four-star diner, which is located by where the Ace Arena used to be. Good to eat there the first time in forever. Oh. Well, I know this coming Saturday, which is June 21st, Ace Pro Wrestling presents Mercury Rising. Well, I'm kind of looking ahead because I know they'll be back in Wellington Saturday, July 12th for Fallout, and here are some matches I'd like to see on July the 12th. I'd like to see Andrew Tiny Johnson one-on-one with Thorson Creed. I'd like to see Midnight Rider finally get in the ring. Jorge Luis Rivera and Lou Nova versus Danny Pagan and Steve Pena. I think that's it for now in terms of the wish list for Fallout July 12th. But I have to say, I think Ace could use maybe one or two more tag teams, because it seems to me that all we have left right now are Middle East Connection have already been the champions. The Movement were tag champions for a year. Defiance, they've been champions since April. I mean, here's some teams for you. Why not the Adrenaline Express, EJ Risk and VSK. The Beaver Boys, Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Milk Chocolate, Brandon Watson, Randy Summers. Matt Justice and Jesse Vane. Well, no, I mean, I think they do need one or two more teams. It's just that I don't know who's really left for Defiance to defend their belts against at this point. Oh, another one for July 12th, Fallout. Astro Morales challenging Vince Steele for the Diamond Division title. This time around at the Jose Marti Freshman Academy, half of the gymnasium was closed off. I wonder why that was done. I wonder where was. Let's see. We didn't see Alvin Alvarez, Mike Donovan. I guess all that was missing in action, I believe. That was advertised for the show. Could be wrong. Sure hope there'll be another show at the Jose Marti Freshman Academy in the future. Here's something shocking, folks. When I got back to New York City at the Port Authority, Ace historian Adolfo caught me, and we actually kind of talked a little bit, and I'm surprised he didn't make the show as well for that night. Hey, Joe Alvarez, man, I wish you could have come with me, but you never got back, really gave me an answer, and you're really missing out. It really would have been great to have you with me for this show. Great seeing Ryan Peterson. Yeah. I guess here's one memorable quote. Always a pleasure, brother. FNB when he saw me and celebrating the victory. Jamal Jackson and Josh Starks got over the Middle East connection as they were slapping hands with everybody in the crowd. I'm wondering, is Mike Morgan Jr. gonna end up in the ring one of these nights? Oh, great seeing Hector, the head, Hector, head of security, at the show. Trap. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, folks. Ace Pro Wrestling is just like Ozzy Osbourne, not going away.